subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
T.S. Giselle in the building.
Just 1 second. I have to take my medicine.
There you go. What's are you feeling better, T.S. Giselle?
Um, yeah, finally. Oh my gosh. I just had like a cold from Thanksgiving, and I am feeling better. Thank you for noticing that I was sick and being concerned about the TS, everyone's favorite. Tariq, initially at the beginning of the space, you said that you wanted to talk to women who were in relationships with men who they made more money than the man.
Right.
And so, of course, that's just something I can't relate to. I only date high value men, and so it's not something that I can contribute to because I just don't know that scenario.
Oh,
Um, I will say that you probably can speak to some of the women in the space who are probably in that situation. Maybe a Miss Juicy, maybe a FBA
no,
Fatback, maybe a Just B.
no, I'm not going to let you start insulting people. You're not going to start that. Yeah, you are a high value man. All right, let's stop that. You're not going to start insulting the women in here. Nope. I had to stop you before you start insulting the women. Stop it. That's funny. Oh, Lord. Excuse me. Now let's get weaponized thinking. Weaponized thinking in the building. Weaponized thinking. Where you at, weaponized? You in here, weaponized?
Oh yeah, I'm in here. What's going on, Tariq? Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the Papoose situation and the Travis Hunter thing real quick. But I think Pap, in my opinion, I think he gave Remy a little bit too much of himself too fast because he was visiting her in jail and all this stuff earlier. It's like, bro, you should have evaluated that a little bit better. And I'm like, man, it was kind of rough, but I think Travis, like, man, I think he gonna get washed though, bro. Like the boy, just by the way he looked, like, man, he couldn't wait to get something that was gonna be looking like that, so he can, bury his little hatchet in too.
Yeah.
But I just hope he do better,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. Oh man, we are in here deep. We are in here deep. Let's get LL Cool Trey. LL Cool Trey in the building. What's up, brother? I'm good, man. How are you, sir?
I'm good, bro. I just want to tap in on the topic. Is it you or has the roles been reversed, man? Is it now that the women is treating us men like how men treated the women back in the 90s, bro? Cause I mean, let's be honest, man. We really saw this coming, especially with this celebrity game and social media. With her, you know, blowing up the way she did so fast once she got out of jail, this was inevitable, bro.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, shout out,
yes,
man.
and a very interesting dynamic. Thank you so much, brother. All right. Um, let me see. Let's get Emmanuel, brother Emmanuel in the building. Emmanuel, what's up, brother? Mr. Emmanuel, hop in, sir.
You, Tariq, what's up,
What's up,
man?
man? How are you, sir?
Listen, I'm doing all right, man. Long time listening. I think a lot of these dudes need to go back. Like when I was in middle school, and I used to listen to your Mac lessons. A lot of them need to listen to that stuff because these dudes, Pat Poose and Travis Hunter, it's just sad how they going out. I land right
There you
there.
go. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a real different vibe out here. But earlier we was talking about because your Travis Hunter, the guy was saying that the chick was a Mexican chick. She's a dark skinned Mexican. I couldn't tell. She kind of looked like a light skinned black lady. I don't know, but yeah, I could see her as a Mexican chick. That goes into the whole coalition thing. See, we got to start evaluating coalitions, family. And us as foundational Black Americans, we're going to have to learn how to form strategic coalitions and not exploitive coalitions where we just let people exploit us because, like, oh, girl, tying this into the Travis Hunter thing, this woman, people see that, she's about to put her claws into the game and try to get a bag out of it. So this is a win-win for her. I mean, I don't see where this is a win for the brother. Yeah. But we gotta really evaluate our coalitions, and we got to start looking at things from almost a military science standpoint, ladies and gentlemen. Because see, black people, we make a mistake of trying to build coalitions that's one-sided where we get exploited, or we try to ally with somebody against another enemy. And yeah, we'll get assistance, but then we'll get absorbed by the so-called ally. The book 40, not 48 Laws, but the book The Art of War talks about how not to get too overly reliant on allies for backup. And we have to really, really understand that dynamic and learn from that. We got to be strategic with the way we build coalitions. Um, Going back to ancient times, we've seen organizations and nations that would try to ally with so-called helpful nations only to be absorbed by those nations. Like there were some African nations in ancient times that would battle people like Carthage, and then they said, okay, we need the Romans to back us up because the Roman Empire, they got the power. So let's ally with them so they can help us against the Carthaginians. Yeah, they'll help you. You'll defeat the Carthaginians, but then after a while, the Romans said, okay, let me get your little ass too. I'll absorb you into my space too. So that happens a lot when you're dealing with a more powerful ally or a more organized ally. That happened to a lot of the Native American tribes over here. They were having battles and fights, and they would get with the European powers. The European powers would give them weapons and say, I'll help you against that tribe over there. And then they would defeat that tribe, like the Yamasee tribe. There were some red native tribes that helped the British against the Yamasee, which these were like black tribes. And the Yamasee were actually beating the British, but they got those red natives to come on in and assist the British, and they ultimately just destroyed the Yamasee. And the Yamasee, many of them were sold into slavery. And some of those red tribes thought they were in good, then they got absorbed and they got dominated. Their lands and resources got taken too by the same white supremacists. Same thing in Africa. Some of those African tribes were making deals with the Portuguese. They were having babies by the Portuguese. Those offsprings were called Lancados, and those Lancados became some of the biggest slave traders on the west coast of Africa. And they were helping to round up a lot of different warring tribes, and they were getting help from the Portuguese and the Spanish. And then the Portuguese and the Spanish said, okay, let me throw you in them ships too. Let me go ahead and conquer and take over this whole nation. You see? So we have to understand the dangers of becoming too reliant on a so-called ally who's a little more powerful when you give them too much leeway to come in and absorb you. Let's make it more applicable to somewhat modern times. You had Dr. Dre working with Eazy-E, and Eazy-E and Jerry Heller, even though Dr. Dre was doing all the production and the producers, you're supposed to get a big bag, but Jerry Heller and Easy, they were getting most of the money, and they were supposed to be in partnership with Dr. Dre, and Dre wasn't getting the money he was supposed to get. So Dre allied with Suge Knight. Suge Knight got him out those contracts. Suge Knight helped him get a better deal that was more lucrative. So he had another ally, but then what happened? The ally ended up taking over. After a while, Suge owned all of Dre's publishing with Death Row Records. You see, you got to be careful about allies that can absorb you and take over. And we make the mistake of doing that. We have these one-sided allyships where it's only beneficial to one person or one side. Now, we have to look at history and look at situations where people utilize allies, but they made sure they were not dominated. So we have to study history, ladies and gentlemen. One thing we can study is the American Revolution. When they have the American Revolution here, the American, quote, patriots, they were allied actually with the French. The French helped some of the patriots over here, and they helped them defeat the British. And the French, they didn't really get a strong foothold over here like that. They didn't really dominate and take over. And there were a few reasons why. One, they were foreign, they were across the ocean, or they were far away. They didn't have too many satellite colonies over here like that. I think they had Saint Domingue at the time, but they didn't really have that much of a strong geographical foothold over here. Also, the French were trying to get their lick back from the British because the British beat them in something I think was called the 7 Years' War. So the British had spanked on the French. So the French wanted their lick back. So the American patriots said, hey, come on, you work with me. We'll help you get that lick back. So they understood how to create a mutual camaraderie for a limited term where they can both get goals met. The American patriots wanted to get the British off their backs. The French wanted to get their lick back from the British. So they found a mutual relationship to work within where no group is going to dominate the other. See, we got to be strategic like that. Also, another strategic allyship was I think it was called the Battle of Adwa in Ethiopia. This was the first one when they were fighting in 1896 with King Menelik. King Menelik cleverly worked with the Russians to get weapons. And I think he worked with the French too. He went to a couple of those different European nations to get weapons. He didn't depend on just one because Italy was trying to take over Ethiopia because Ethiopia is in a very sweet space strategically over there, the Horn of Africa. So many of the European powers, they wanted a piece of that. They wanted that. And they had colonized some of the other places around Ethiopia. So Ethiopia was very strategic. So Menelik understood that the Russians, they weren't in that scramble of Africa thing where they were colonizing the whole continent and carving it off. Russia really didn't get a piece of that, but Russia still wanted to get um, their leg up economically over some of the European powers. So they got Russia to send some of the weapons and the bullets and things like that, so that they could defeat the Italians. And understand the thing about Russia. Um, with Russia, they didn't really get heavily in the slave trade, and they didn't really colonize Africa like that. And it wasn't because of some moral high ground, let's be clear. But what Russia positioned themselves as, they positioned themselves as a country that takes the high road and help um, under siege countries. But they were forced to take that route because they couldn't compete with Italy, Spain, Britain, France. They couldn't compete with them. So out of necessity, they had to say, okay, we're going to just take the high road. Because I want y'all to understand something about Russia. Russia didn't get into the slave trade or the colonization game heavily like that simply because of geography. Where they're located, they just physically couldn't do it because Russia is a landlocked empire. So they simply don't have a naval base, or at the time, they didn't have a naval base in order to do that because they're not by the ocean like that. They're not by the Atlantic Ocean. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't do it. You understand? Just based on geography. So it wasn't a moral thing. Physically, they couldn't go out there and move and shake like the other colonizers. So again, Menelik utilized that. So you utilize people's strengths, you utilize their weaknesses. You understand? You got to take the emotions out of it. So we got to start thinking strategically. We got to be very strategic. And there's a lot of ways we can do that. We can take some of those instances and learn how to um, build up real coalitions. See, we got to start building coalitions based on mutual interest. You always make sure the alliance is formed around a shared, clear, and limited objective. Because yeah, we think we're gonna start clicking in with people for life. It don't work like that. Don't think in terms of just being bosom buddies for the rest of your life. No, no, no. You better utilize allies when you can utilize them, because that ally can turn into an enemy at the drop of a hat. So you better have clear, limited objectives that you guys can both see clearly with, and obtain those objectives, and avoid giving that ally disproportionate leverage over your goals. We make a mistake as Black people of doing that. We let people leverage their power over us, and we got to stop doing that. Also, we got to start maintaining independence in our critical resources. You see, our critical resources, our culture, is foundational Black Americans. That's our main resource, is foundational Black American culture. And we have to gatekeep that, because then we can leverage that. Because what we do, we start giving our stuff away. No, no, we have to stop doing that. We can't let everybody just walk in the door and take our culture and start claiming all of our achievements. We have a say in that. We can shut that stuff down so that people don't feel entitled to everything that we create culturally. And another thing we need to do is have balance alliances with multiple people. You understand? We got to be very diversified in who we strike deals with. You see, because if you just rely on one single ally, that makes them a little too powerful. You have to let folks know, just like in the dating the political game, we just let the Democrats know we don't need your ass. See, it's very important. It was very important for us to make the Democrats. We have to let each political party know, hey, we're not going to be married to no political party. We're not going to be just stuck with your ass just out of loyalty. No, no, no. We're gonna move and shake. Whoever comes to the table with something fly, we're gonna move in that direction. If you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, I'm gonna move away from you. So we got to know how to be balanced and have multiple alliances. Yes, we can be allied with the Democrats. We can be allied with the Republicans if they got some on the table that we can use temporarily or limitedly. Let's strike a deal with them. We strike deals with everybody. Whoever's going to benefit us at the moment. And the main thing, family, do not be fooled by symbolic, one-sided alliances. That's our biggest problem. Our biggest problem is that we fall for way too many symbolic gestures. We go for this superficial recognition where people will put out a public statement of solidarity, but no actionable support. Like when all the riots and stuff were going down, you had some of these organizations like, yes, we're going to write a letter in solidarity to Black Lives Matter. Yes, we wrote a strongly worded letter, so we stand with ya. Okay, okay, what does that mean? It'll mean nothing. Where are you in the court when we need you to put some of these race soldiers in jail? Where are the resources? Where are the reparations? Where are the tangibles? You see, damn a strong letter. You see, watch out for that. And then you start asking people, hey man, where were you when we are here struggling? No, I wrote a letter, buddy. I was right there with you. I wrote a letter, me and my organization. In fact, in the 60s, I marched with Dr. King. You hear that all the time. Everybody and their damn mama said they marched with damn Dr. King in the 60s. That's a symbolic gesture. That don't mean shit. People out there marching for Jordan Neely now. He's still dead, and the race soldier, the suspected white supremacist who choked him, is still free. Yeah, well, I don't damn that symbolic stuff. Yeah. We got to have some real measurable action out here. And that whole black and brown is tying it back into Travis Hunter. That black and brown thing, family, that's been a con game for the last 60 years. Let's keep it a buck. Only people talk that black and brown stuff are people trying to get sexual access. You understand? Black and brown coalition. When we were struggling in the civil rights movement, them white or not white, but those Hispanic organizations famously told us to kick rocks, particularly LULAC. That was the biggest Latin American organization, LULAC, and it was run by Felix. Um, what's his name? Tirina. Felix Tirina. He famously said, "Hey, the Negro problem ain't our problem." Not only did he say that, and this was a Hispanic civil rights organization, not only did he tell us that their problem is not our problem is not their problem, rather. He owned a bunch of restaurants down in Texas, like in Houston and all over the place. Felix Tiarina owned a whole bunch of restaurants, and he put up anti-black Jim Crow signs. He actually put up signs like no blacks and had a very strict no black policy in his restaurants. Don't let people fool you with some damn black and brown coalition, man. There's never really been one. You got to be very honest about that. And that's okay. That's okay. So we got to stop being fooled. Black and brown means you get to lay up with a Latina. That's not a real coalition. That's just you getting sexual access. And that's the last thing we got to understand. We got to cultivate our cultural strength internally. See, when we get our stuff right internally as foundational Black Americans, this is why we shape everything and center everything around our lineage. When we get everything right internally, we can go to the table with strength. We can move as a unit and say, okay, look, if you don't do A, B, and C as a unit, we're going to um, punish you by withdrawing support or resources, or reward you by giving support or resources, or votes or whatever. But we have to understand that we got to come to the table on code in a position of power. You see, you can't come to the table as a weak ally. You got to have something to bring to the table. Now, what I like about this last election, I'm tying everything to the election. We came in with voting power. See, our power and our strength was that we as foundational Black Americans, we vote as a block, or we are a block. We can make or break an election. We have to really appreciate that power. We have the power to make and break an election, and we broke an election. We broke the Democrats. We gotta keep flexing that kind of power, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And again, stop going for the symbolic Pan Africanism and Black and Brown, because both of those movements are about sexual access. The Black and Brown movement is about some Negro trying to get with a Puerto Rican chick or a Mexican chick. That's what the Black and Brown coalition is. And let's keep it a buck. The Pan African movement is about some Negroes smash Caribbean women and African women. That's really what it boils down to. When you hear people talking about Pan Africanism, that's some fool trying to go trick off some money in Uganda somewhere on somebody. For the most part, that's where it kind of boils down to. You over there trying to trick off in Kenya somewhere. That's your Pan Africanism. Or you got you some little exotic broad in the Dominican Republic. That's your Pan Africanism. Trying to get your 90-day fiance on and calling that Pan Africanism. No, you're trying to get you some foreign, low expectation tang. You understand? And women, when they start talking about their Pan African, you trying to take your big back over there to Nigeria to get you some hungry Igbo to smash. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get you a thirsty Yoruba brother to smack them big back cakes. Let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a damn bean, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And y'all know I'm keeping it 100. DJ Genesis, hop on in here. DJ Genesis, hop on in here. Where you at, DJ Genesis? Okay.
You had me. I was muted. Okay. So I wanted to ask a question. Current FBA that's being kind of like real, like being like drugged through the mud right now. Billy Carson.
What's happening with
got bro, he got embarrassed. He lost this debate with this white dude about the Bible, and man, they are dragging him down. They're
Mm.
destroying him online right now.
Oh,
I
damn.
mean, I don't know if he's gonna be able to recover because then he got online and was calling people poor and all this other stuff. I don't know why he did that. He's with this like Asian sister, and you're talking about the brown and the black, but I don't know if he was with the right woman if she would have said go ahead and do that because he looks crazy and yeah, you got to look into that.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know. I don't. Hey, I don't know what's going
So
on.
what he did was he lost a debate with this white guy saying about that he was asking about the Sinai Bible not having Jesus in it, and this white guy was like, "Well, you mean the something concept, whatever the synaptis or I don't even something some other like the coacceptus or some I don't know about that. I don't practice Christianity, but it's some kind of book that or like some paperwork they found back in the day that they lit on fire and was using it for like to heat themselves up, but then they like figured out, oh damn, this is an actual book. It's called the something Codex Synaptus or some shit like that.
Okay.
But he called it the
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you're explaining it, not just. Yeah, I'm completely confused. I would have to look into it so that I can, because I don't know what you're saying. All of this stuff, and she's kind of fumbling through it. So I don't know. This is all foreign to me, and I know it's foreign to you. So I would have to kind of look into what's being said and what's going on, and I don't want people to just be saying stuff, and I don't know how true it is. So I would have to hear for myself, because so I don't know. I would have to look into it. So shout out to that sister, by the way. All right.
Get ready to celebrate the holidays in style. Join us for the Arati Sussy Holiday Season Celebration at the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles, Saturday, December 21st, 2024, 7 p.m. sharp. Enjoy complimentary dinner and drinks while you laugh the night away. Hosted by Tariq Nasheed and Dwan B. Featuring hilarious performances from Big Jaw, Kevin Tate, Henry Coleman, and more. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Visit hiddenhistorymuseum.com to reserve your spot. Don't miss the most festive night of the season. hiddenhistorymuseum.com.